Hey guys, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net. Welcome to the live question and answer webinar. If someone could please use the comment section. Oh, here we go. Hello, hello, hello. Quick comment to the surplus staffs. All right. Hello, Rochelle. Hello, I'm here at last. Hello. Thank you for the webinar. Hello. Is that you, Rochelle, from Everett? I'm in Nevada. Okay. All right, guys. Any and all questions are welcome. I did have two questions that were somehow put up in comments. Still getting used to YouTube stream, okay? In comments prior to this going live. And one of them was, can I get a list from, and they listed a specific county. The program teaches you not only how to find lists online, but also to request them from the counties. And then another question was, do I get a W-9? Do we fill out a new W-9 every year? We 1099 our partners at the end of the year, them or their companies at the end of the year. So it's all handled that way. In fact, recent changes with the IRS tax code, we're going to probably end up 1099ing some of our mobile notaries because we're going to be over the minimum on those guys. So, hi, says Carol. Cheryl says, hi, guys. All good here. That's great. The Healthy Monday. Good evening. Good evening, all, says Karen. And Ray says, hello. That's great. Again, any and all questions. One thing I'll just throw out there right now. So, a lot of you guys found out with the tax surplus strike force, we had some issues with that. So, we ended up, two things I want to say about it. We ended up saying, hey, everybody that bought during that sale can get that free add-on built in. So if you did purchase Tax Surplus Strike Force, make sure you go to the end of your ebook, and there's a link there where you can fill out a form to get that free add-on that we were offering on that day only. Also, guys, February 6th and 7th, we will be offering the Tax Surplus Strike Force again, not for the launch price, but only $50 more, $447 until we sell out on that. We are moving back to once a month sales because we're really happy with the activity of our partners. We want to limit the people coming on, and we want to moderate that. So we're being very over conservative as far as that's concerned. But yeah, we're gonna move that back to once a month. So it'll be February 6th and 7th at surplusfundsriches.net. Karen says, good evening, all. Hello, hello, good evening. I'm having a difficult time researching LOL Ellery. Hey, okay, Ellery, I'd open up a support ticket because you're going to need to get specific on your comments. And I want to make a comment here because Jeff, my business partner, handles support and also underwriting the files. And he shared with me some of, and I'm not saying you're doing this, Ellery, but he shared with me some of the support tickets he got. And I mean, there were a ton of them that were just run-on sentences with no punctuation, no grammar, misspelled words. Well, I'm not being like crazy about this. I'm telling you, you could not understand what was being asked. I get the whole speech to text thing that people are using so much of right now, but if you guys ask questions, you're really going to need to take the time to make sure that it's not one run-on sentence. If you really want help, help us help you. You know, Devlin says hello. Devlin from Oklahoma. Happy New Year. That's great. Hello, Sean. I have a two-part question. One, is the stealth program still on hold, or are we able to start submit? You can submit whenever you want, Ann. What I brought up to some folks with the stealth was simply that the level of folks for the last 6-9 months that are redeeming their properties prior to them actually selling it to foreclosure was so ridiculously high that if you had, and I believe you do, Ann, one of our surplus funds programs, you'd be better off using that for right now because so many people were redeeming the properties prior to the foreclosure. So obviously we couldn't put a deal together with them, right? So I would go ahead, and it hasn't been on hold. It's just you really, right now, surplus funds is the way to go. The national, the panning, the strike force. Good evening, says Roland. Hi from the West Coast, Richard. Hello. Second question, what happens when previously submitted self-files where the owner gets themselves out of foreclosure but now being foreclosed again? Do we resubmit those, or are they still being worked? They can't be worked because, I mean, they redeemed it. So, and typically if you redeem a property, it's another 2 years to get foreclosed on again. I don't think you're going to run into that. Wayne Wilson, hello from Florida. Too sweet. Hello, everyone. Will Banks, Michigan, USA. That's great. Karen, how many submissions can we submit per month? 100, Karen. And let me make a big point. First of all, we've only had 2 people ever even get close to hitting that. Okay, that's a lot. of files a month. Okay. The second thing is we set up that max so that somebody didn't just wade into the program, hire 8 virtual assistants, and just run over everybody. So that's another part to that. But honestly, uh, only had 2 people get even close to that in over 15 years of doing this. So I don't think you're going to have an issue with that. Kimberly says hello. Glenn, hi everyone. Carol, 100 per month. There we go. Hi, Sean. Question about and then you stopped, Kirk. Okay, Bobby, I need to know, you said that we can work 27 states. Bobby, the list of states that you can work for any program are available on the resources page that is linked from your ebook. Kenneth, can I use a California attorney to help me file claims in the state of Georgia? All right, Kenneth, it really comes down to the state, like how good they are at having an attorney come in. Most states are going to want you to have a frontline attorney. I will tell you, if you've got a good attorney close to you that you've worked with in the past, have them as your central attorney. Pay them a certain small amount for handling, hiring the frontline attorneys in other states. They can get their paralegal to do that. That's what we do. We have a paralegal that's our attorney liaison. They're just with us, but they're with the attorney, and she's with the central. She will hire the attorneys in the other states. We pay that central attorney when he does work for us in certain states where he can do it himself. We pay him a very good cut, and then we'll also pay him much smaller percentage when he's just facilitating it, where we have to pay the frontline attorney and him. Georgia, I think you're going to need a frontliner. Kenneth Massey, good evening. Too sweet. How about the stealth program? Is that also good to work right now? You absolutely can. I honestly, any of the surplus right now are cranking. If you've got Panning or Strikeforce or National, work those. Before that, just because I think they're more powerful. And Russell, I'm sorry, I meant that some people had their foreclosures postponed and came up again. Oh, yeah, but Ann, again, I think I made the point. If you've got, I think you have a surplus funds program, and that's going to be a little more productive right now. I think that'll change as the economy. I think the economy is going to get a little rougher this year, and I think stealth might come into play. Everything kind of ebbs and flows, right? Some programs get hotter during a time, and then another one will actually get hotter too. So I wouldn't, for right now, I'd work in any of the surplus programs you got other than stealth. I tried to get a bank loan. They asked for a NAICS or SIC code for surplus. Tried a couple, no luck. Can you help? Oh, so David, that's a great question. So what you can do it one of two ways, because we actually give good faith money to the claimant as a way to lock them down. We give that within 10 business days after they sign. We give them 10% of the gross amount held at that point, and then the rest of whatever we agree to, of course, a heck of a lot more when we successfully get it out. So we could be a financial company. I have the same company I had when I had a real estate. I still have a real estate firm, but I have the same company I had when I was a broker and selling real estate, and that was my main way of making money. And it was a real estate company, and this is all real estate related. So whatever you find on the NAICS or SIC code for real estate, that's the way to go. Good question. Bobby Green says, thanks. Kimberly, is Real Auction the only accurate third-party website we can use for Strikeforce program? You can use attorney sites right off of, you really need to reread the ebook, Kimberly. You can use attorney sites that, if the attorney's handling it directly for the counties for the tax sale, you can use those as well. That's covered in the ebook. Wayne, how much will the strike force cost on the 6th and 7th? 447. We're only going up $50, but it's probably going to be gone pretty darn quick. So show up there early. Kirk, question about researching properties. What if the claimant's name is followed by the designation trust, such as if it says John Jones Living Trust? Are there any extra considerations? Yes. Good question, Kirk. I'm going to throw this at in the background. Jeff is moderating this too, but so when it's a trust, you have to know who the trustee is for the trust, and often it is not the same person as the name of the trust or the same person that you think had the property. Jeff, I don't even know if we take them. I believe we will, but let me let Jeff jump in and give his opinion because he handles the front line. Good question. Cash Point Capital. What would you say are the best states or counties to start in for someone new to the business? So, the last thing that we do is lead people in the direction of one state or the other. I will tell you that for national, we will not work Florida. Florida is a separate program because the statutes are so different there. So you can't work Florida. North Carolina will not give you a list. So you can't work that with national. And we will not work Colorado. So you can work the other 47 states. We've got stuff in. I mean, we've worked over 40 states. I'm not kidding at this point. I'm pretty sure. I'll double check that. I'll double check that. With Strike Force, I think there's 27 you can work or 20, something like that. And then, good Lord, it's low to mid 20s for the Panning for Hidden Surplus Funds program. And what do you got? Thank you. Too sweet. I recently saw a 1-day flip program. Does our flipping program also include the 1-day flip strategy? Too sweet. I'm going to need you to read your ebook. So National Deed Flip, it's not a 1-day flip. And anybody telling you they're going to flip a house in 1 day, they're probably talking about either a wholesaling program or a hybrid of that. And that just doesn't work very well. You're going to have a hard time with that. I'm just being upfront with you. So if you got one of our flipping programs, read that. One of the things we do to get a little more money, first of all, we don't fix it and flip it. Okay, we flip it as is to investors, so we get it super cheap and sell it with enough meat on the bone for the flipper to fix it up and sell it, but still make a heck of a lot of money. Okay, but so if it's vacant, we can typically do that within 2 to 3 weeks after we close on it. In other words, we record. First thing we do is record the deed. Then we pay off the taxes to stop the tax sale. Okay, and then we pay the owner. If they're in the property, we give them a portion of what we're going to pay them, and then the rest when they're out. That way, there's a carrot to get out. If not, we give them all of it if they're already out of the property and it's vacant. And in that case, we can sell it quickly, 2 to 3 weeks, because we're selling to investors for cash. So it's a very quick closing, 2 weeks, 2, 3 weeks, usually after we put it on the market. No kidding. If they're in there, we'll give them a month or two to get out. So that's when we'll give them some money up front and the rest when they get out. And that makes all the difference on the negotiation. People like having a month or two to get their feet back under them. I already purchased last year's ebook. Will that mean I need to buy another one for 2026? Nope. Just apply what you got. Open it up, read it. Guys, read your ebook twice for comprehension. Do the file examples, like do them online as they're written. And then you can go to the resources page, watch the videos. That's ancillary training, but it kind of reinforces it. But you've got to read your ebook twice for comprehension. You just do. There's no way around it. I know everybody has, not you guys necessarily, but I know a lot of people have very short attention spans and they have difficulty with reading comprehension. It's a completely new skill set. You're going to have to put the time in and the work to learn it. S. Jolly, good evening. Good evening. Roland, I live in North Carolina and finding a list of properties seems to be posing a serious problem, especially in Guilford. Is there a trick to this and should I just search for a different county? Jeff actually did a North Carolina example in the Strike Force program, if that's what you're talking about, Roland. And it's pretty straightforward. I'm not making fun. I'm not taking a shot at you, but there's like 97 counties in North Carolina. If you have a problem with one, you can ask them. You can certainly call them and ask, but you can also move on to another county. There's so many of them in the state, you know. Ruby, hey, hope we have great year. Thrilled to be a part. That's fantastic. Jeff assured me it is okay to work the defendant. Ruby, I'm not gonna. I'm sure he handled that question then. Guys, if you use support and you ask Jeff, don't call me or email me or text me and ask the same question. The reason I say that is I don't handle the front line. I handle the attorneys. I handle my attorney liaison and the attorneys. I handle the crew with my supervisor. I'm handling like the process of this. Jeff is handling all of the front line. Okay. He handles submissions when they come in. He does an underwriting check of that. He double checks when we get one that's where we have verbal agreement. He also handles all of the support. He knows the front line. I don't. So that's why we're so tough on it. People get mad sometimes, I think, when I say, hey, they'll email me or they'll try to use our socials to ask a support question. I'm like, hey guys, use support as outlined in your ebook. I'm going to give you the wrong answer, but Jeff won't. So use use the support system. I have a strike force. I was one of the first 35 and offered a free course. Which program would you recommend? So first thing, Kimberly, you can still go, by the way, guys, to surplusfundsriches.net, click on programs or products page, and there'll be a download there of what all the programs are. And that should include all of your different options on that free add-on. So take a look at that. A lot of people, if like getting the DIY, the surplus funds DIY, not necessarily because they want to work it on their own later, but it is nice to have. It tells you what it would involve to work it on your own. And it also, a lot of people get that because they like it, because now they know what we're doing in the background. Because we don't just teach you guys one way and we do it another. We teach how we're doing it. So you know what we're doing in the background. So that's kind of nice. Wayne, what time and where can I purchase Strikeforce on February 6th? So surplusfundsriches.net, Wayne. Surplusfundsriches.net. And by the way, on this channel, there's info, this YouTube channel, which is Surplus Funds Riches, right? But on this channel, there are, if you look our about and go to our page and all that, there's also a link to it at surplusfundsriches.net. Click on programs. All the information will be there. There'll be a download overview of everything that we're going to offer, and also a download of pricing for the sale. And if you go there, I believe it's going to be after 10 a.m. on the 6th. Jeff can certainly jump in if I'm wrong. After 10 a.m. on the 6th, like right at 10, actually, you should be able to purchase, whatever we've got on there. I think there's a special that's only 5 or 7 available, but other than that, I just show up early. Dexter Ramey, do you still do bankruptcy funds? Okay, historically, we've had 2 bankruptcy programs. One was called the Bankruptcy Gold Mine. That was one where the bankruptcy court was holding money because they liquidated assets for people. They paid a creditor. The check came back. They made no effort to find these people, which is kind of ridiculous. It's the Department of Federal Government. So they could find them, but they don't give it. They don't care. They don't give it a shot. So they just throw it in the unclaimed money pile. And that was our bankruptcy gold mine. We taught you how to get a hold of the creditors that are due the money and make a deal with them for that. Unfortunately, the bankruptcy courts have stopped putting lists up of their unclaimed money. And as a result, it really doesn't work. We sunsetted that for a reason. There's another bankruptcy, let's call it themed book, and that is for surplus funds. When somebody goes into foreclosure and there's surplus funds created, one of the things you can do is, now their surplus funds are, let's say you can't reach them, all right? Or let's say they don't want to work with you, or let's say there's way too much debt there. Well, do a quick check on pacer.gov. That's the national, you have to look up locals, but that's the national site for bankruptcy courts. And you can go there, plug in their name and their area, and see if they went into bankruptcy. And if they did, usually 2 years before, up to 2 years after, if they did, the bankruptcy court has a priority claim in front of everybody. Everybody. Okay. The IRS could probably make a claim, but bankruptcy court, other than that, has a claim in front of everyone. So if they don't want to work with you, you can't find them or whatever, you can get in touch. We teach you how to get in touch with the bankruptcy court. This is called our surplus hybrid. And they will pay you usually they'll pay you a 25% referral just for telling them where the money is, and they'll make the claim themselves. Now, they will not sign an agreement, but if you get in touch with the attorney or the judge that handled that particular case, and you can reference the case, they will petition their own court to pay you. It is not their money. They don't care. Okay. They don't care. They'll pay a 25% referral all day. They will not sign an agreement, but they will petition their own court, which you can see online. You can see them petitioning themselves to be able to pay you. That's fantastic. That's a great program. That's the hybrid. That's the other one. It's surplus funds, but you're checking to see if they went into bankruptcy. It's a different program. Dexter, I hope that answered your question. It's just we had 2 different types of programs. Jose, hi. How often do you update the list of submitted cases? I'm waiting for my 3rd file to be approved so that I can start submitting more. We update it Monday through Friday. Now, let's say, Jose, you turned one in yesterday at 10 o'clock. Well, then today it would have been reviewed, okay, at 10 a.m. or even 10 p.m. Today it would have been reviewed. It would have gone through the underwriting process, and hopefully being put in unless we were like completely buried. And right now we're a man short because one of the young ladies on the staff had a baby and she's coming back soon, but we're a man short. Shouldn't be much of a delay, but like I say, if it was 10 a.m. yesterday, morning or evening, it would probably be up on today's list. And make sure you go there and open the new list. Okay. Uh, However, like if you turned it in at 9 a.m. this morning, there's a chance that they cut that off at 8:30 or 7:30 when they started doing the files, and that's going to be the next day. Dexter, I have a Pacer account, awesome, and one e-file registration I have been putting together. I might have to check. Yeah, you might have to check out Hybrid. That's a great program. I some people actually use it a different way, and that is instead of going, okay, they're not talking to me, or there's too much debt, or I can't find them, or whatever. I'm going to see if they went into bankruptcy. Some people actually run that first. I think that's kind of crazy, but some people do. I just because the number of people that went into bankruptcy versus foreclosure, the percentage of people that went into foreclosure that also went into bankruptcy is surprisingly low. Okay, and you've got to be within that 2 years before or after time period. So it makes a difference. I'm happy for you though, Dexter. That's great. Let's see what else we got here. The only thing we tried, since I've got a minute, the only thing that we tried that, and we beta tested this, tried this years ago. The IRS used to have what they called, hey, good evening, Cigar Talk. So the IRS had this thing that it was their tattletale system, basically, where you could turn people in for not paying taxes, which, whatever. But we tried to use that as, oh my God, these IRS tax liens are owed. We could make the argument with the IRS. This is if the owner didn't want to work with us, right? Because I'd rather work with the ex-owner before anybody else. But still, if there was an IRS tax lien, that's still going to have to be paid. Why not use that tattletale system to let them, hey, there's this much money due from surplus funds, give us a 25% referral. They're a creditor. The guy wouldn't be able to get it anyway, right? So why not? We turned a couple in, it never panned out. So that's the only beta test to date that's failed, just so you guys know. Jose Sanchez, this is Victor Orgo. Hey, Victor, all the lists. So there's two lists that you can access, working files list. One list is for those folks that are on the flipping programs. That is a list of all the different flipping program submissions that have already been submitted to us. Okay. The other one, it doesn't matter if it's panning or surplus strike force or national surplus. Those are surplus funds programs. So all those are in there. And that's why I think we had a couple of people actually freak out and go, hey, I just got the ebook. It's been, a few hours since I bought it, and there's all this stuff already turned in. That's because it's stuff that's been turned in over the last year and a half from national surplus, panning, Fridden surplus. Uh, None of it at that point was the tax surplus strike force, although we've gotten a ton of files turned in. That's fantastic. Now, that leads me to the question I got the other day from someone, which was, hey, I've got national surplus. Should I have gotten, or should I get it in February, the tax surplus strike force? Yeah, because the strike force guys, what we've done is taught them how to figure out what the surplus is without needing a list. So in some states, they don't give lists. So this is going to be, of course, my God, we'll be the only people really working it. Very few people know how to do this. I mean, very few people know how to do this. The other thing is you can create your own list, usually a month or two before the county actually publishes a list, an updated list. So that's a big deal. So if you didn't get it, I would, just because I think depending on what states you're working or whatever, you're going to be able to be first in the door. And the first one that turns in the file correctly is the one that gets it. So that's important to realize. It's the only fair way to do it, right? Jose, Strikeforce and Florida focusing on deeds. There you go. How often are we supposed to have trainings? So, Tessa, you've gotten, if you came on board, you got, I don't understand the question. You got the ebook, which is a PDF, which is a step-by-step, which you need to read twice and do the file example on that. And do the file example on that, and then watch the videos on the resources page, and also read the submission information is on the resources page. Okay. We have these live question and answer webinars twice a month. So I really recommend that you come with questions if you can, right? But we also have built-in email-based support. It's a ticket-based system online using the support system as outlined in your ebook. And Jeff gets back in one business day. And I want to say something because somebody said something the other day. So why don't you have where we can all kind of help each other out and have that? This is how long we've been doing this. Back in the day, we had a blog, okay? And on the blog, people could jump in and help each other out and comment. And well, we had people coming in, and I did a video on this recently too. We called them chest thumpers, right? They'd come in and go, "Oh, the answer to that question is this," and I know, and I'm the man. I know what I'm doing, and they were always wrong, right? So we were spending all of our time correcting incorrect information given out by other people. So you guys have a direct line. You have email-based support directly to Jeff, my business partner. He typically gets back in one business day. That is golden. You have a direct line to a guy that is doing this every day. That's crazy. In addition, yes, you have these live webinars twice a month. Is New York a good state for surplus? Like, is it oversaturated? I'm in New York City. So some of the other, one or two of the other trainers anyway, was saying New York just opened up. We've been working in New York for a while. It's not saturated. I don't think it's an issue. However, Tony, and I get this a lot. People just automatically assume they're in this mindset. I live in South Carolina, so I want to work South Carolina. I'm in Florida, so I want to work Florida. I'm in Nevada. You follow me? That's crazy. It's online from home. Work wherever you get a list or create a list. Don't get caught up in just working in one area. That's completely silly. The difference, I'm in North Carolina. Difference between me working North Carolina and working Michigan is a millionth of a second, whatever the speed of light is, right? Because it's online. So don't get caught up in that, whatever you do. And I'm not saying you were, but some people do. Carol, I came across a document naming the executor of an estate, but not the heirs. Should I be concerned about the overage amount, or does the executor of the estate disperse the funds to the heirs? Carol, that's different state to state. Listen to me carefully, everybody. Carol, thank you for asking that question. Thank you for asking that question. If you're working with us, what you're giving to us on the worksheet is last deed holders prior to the sale. However that's written on that deed, that's what you're giving to us. Don't look up heirs. Don't do any of that. We're not going to trust your work. No offense to you personally, because we can't. Okay. People do. Just put the last deed holders. If it's an estate, put that on there. Put whatever you want on there. Whatever is on the deed. Don't go any further than that, please. Okay. Yes, Ruby, support has up to 3 days to get back. They typically get back faster. Tony, good. We can work anywhere. Well, it depends on the program. Like panning, you're working with mortgage overages. You have to figure out what that amount is. In non-judicial states, I don't know how that's mid-20s, how many states there are there. Strike Force works 27, 28 states, I believe. And then national surplus is 47 because you're working off a list. It's tax and mortgage. It doesn't, Florida's a separate program for us because the statutes are so different. So it doesn't include that. The national doesn't include that. Colorado or North Carolina, because North Carolina won't give you a list. Good. We can work anywhere. Yep. Cigar in Virginia, DC, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. Good choice. Yeah. Yeah. Wherever you get a list or create a list, go for it. I don't have an issue with any of that. Guys, if we had an issue with a state, we tell you that. By the way, we're the first ones that ever made a claim in Wisconsin after that Supreme Court ruling. I'm pretty darn sure. How do I get started? The business looks interesting. So, Daniel, just go to surplusfundsriches.net, click on programs. There's an overview of all of it. And by the way, while you're there, while you're on surplusfundsriches.net, this is for anybody else haven't come on board either. We've got an hour-long complete overview training. Watch that. You got to give your email and name to get in and see it. So what? You can unsubscribe whenever you want. Watch that. That'll give you a great overview, but then also click on the programs or products page. And there's two downloads. One is pricing for the upcoming sale, and which is really cheap. And the other one is an overview of all the programs. It's called the Insider's Guide. The next sale will be February 6th and 7th. It's a flash sale. After that, you'll have to wait till March to come on board. Okay. Ruby, after submit the paperwork, the file, will the feedback come back from paperwork or from SFRs? It can come from either one, Ruby. If paperwork catches something on the initial check, you'll hear from them. If it's gotten through that, but Jeff's taking a look, you'll hear from him. The problem we had with you, Ruby, is I believe they were giving you feedback and you weren't getting it. I don't know if you weren't checking your email, if there was something going on with that. Carol, okay, the deed listed the executor, and I was just curious. Like, yeah, it just listed as that, Carol. And again, wasn't trying to give you a hard time. And by the way, good Lord, congratulations on that first one, that first payout, and you're doing great. Mozambizi Sule, hello. She says support was super fast. My files one got approved, and the other was past the 6 months. It comes fast. They answered right away. Thank you. And yes, I knew you were Sule. Hey guys, oops, one more here. Finding lots of tax deeds under 15K which cannot send to you to work. There is no issues with me working them following your step-by-step insert. No, absolutely. If you've got the DIY section of the national surplus, go for it, man. That's your deal. All right, guys. What a great night. Fantastic questions. Looks like a lot of new names too, which I'm excited about. Remember, real quick. This is the last thing I'm going to say. Go to the site, go to programs. If you haven't come on board, download the overview. That'll give you all the different programs that we have. Download the price guide. Also watch the 1 hour video. Now, if you download that stuff and you still have questions, I'm available 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday Eastern time. 9 to 1 Monday through Friday Eastern time. And this is on the website too, 704-791. This will be in the replay. 9398 704-791 9398. That's right on our website, guys, right on the first page of surplusfundsriches.net. Which one would you recommend regarding the gift, Deblin? I'd get the DIY as my first choice just because I think it's great to have. I was wondering whether a document in the recorder of deeds is certified. No, if it's on their accounts. I am new. What's the best way to get started and what programs to purchase? So go to that surplusfundsriches.net, Cigar Talk. Click on the program section. There's downloads of what's there. Be better suited to check that first. If you still have questions, give me a call. That's my direct cell phone number. Let's see. Scroll through these real quick. Everybody says thanks and got it. Fantastic. Hey guys. If we partner with you, would you operate under our company name or do we work under yours? We're independent contractors, CashPoint Capital. So if you've got a company and you're partnering with us, you're sending the file to us, you've researched the debt and gotten your list or created your list, depending on which program you got. You fill out our worksheet and turn in, and we take it from there. We find them, call them, negotiate, hire the mobile notary and the attorney. And of course, we get the deal under our name. We're going to control that because we're going to pay the claimant after the attorney's paid, and then we'll pay you as well. I'm checking out the tax lien machine. That's a great one, Rochelle. It's people don't understand how good that is. Guys, I got to go. I appreciate everybody, all the interaction, and I certainly hope I hope you've had a great new year, and I hope you have a great night.